Hello everyone, welcome back. Today's video is about a product that feels less like a conventional upgrade and more like a carefully refined evolution of something many people already admired, the Dethonray Honey H2 Pro. For listeners familiar with the Honey H1, you'll probably remember it not only for its technical ability, but for its very distinctive musical character. It was warm, emotional, smooth, and engaging in a way that made people continue talking about it long after it disappeared from the market. Then came the H2, which expanded that philosophy with a larger stage, stronger driving power, and much greater versatility. But the H2 Pro takes things into another direction again. Rather than simply becoming more powerful, it focuses on refinement. Refinement in tonal density, spatial presentation, layering, and overall listening maturity. And after spending time with it, what stands out most is how complete and composed the entire presentation feels. Starting with the design. Compared to the standard H2, the H2 Pro immediately feels more luxurious and more substantial. Instead of the aluminum chassis, the Pro version adopts a stainless steel electroplated body available in both silver and gold finishes. Under different lighting conditions, the surface reflects light with a very smooth metallic texture, giving it an almost jewelry-like appearance while still maintaining Dethonray's understated industrial design language. In hand, the device feels dense and extremely solid, closer to a miniature desktop component than a typical portable DAC amp. And despite the more premium appearance, the overall aesthetic still feels purposeful rather than flashy. Just like the standard H2, the side panels feature an open metal structure with refined wooden inlays, helping maintain stable Bluetooth transmission while also softening the industrial feel of the chassis. It's a subtle design element, but one that gives the H2 Pro a very distinctive identity. Internally, the H2 Pro continues using the flagship AK4499EX DAC together with the AK4191EQ digital processor, physically separating digital and analog processing stages to minimize interference and improve overall signal purity. But the real difference lies in everything surrounding those chips. Rather than simply increasing specifications through excessive hardware stacking, Dethonray focused on refining the surrounding analog circuitry, LPF stage, amplification section, and power delivery system using a large number of high-precision audio-grade components. Even the battery system has been redesigned specifically around the analog section to improve stability and reduce unwanted interference. And in actual listening, these refinements are immediately noticeable. Functionally, the H2 Pro remains extremely versatile. USB decoding supports PCM up to 384 kHz and DSD256, while Bluetooth includes LDAC, aptX HD, adaptive and multiple other codecs. Coaxial input is also included, making the H2 Pro flexible enough for both portable and desktop scenarios. The familiar interface remains as well. 3.5mm single-ended, 4.4mm balanced, gain switch, and the signature volume knob with improved 28-step adjustment, which now feels smoother and more precise during real-world use. Like the standard H2, the Pro version also includes 4 selectable tuning firmware options, allowing subtle changes to the presentation depending on your pairing and listening preferences. From a cleaner and more energetic sound to a smoother, more vocal-focused signature. But ultimately, what truly defines the H2 Pro is its sound, and from the very first few minutes, the H2 Pro already presents music with a noticeably different sense of scale and refinement compared to the standard H2. Starting with the soundstage, because this is immediately striking. The H2 Pro creates a larger and more three-dimensional presentation, but more importantly, the organization within that space feels remarkably natural. Instruments occupy their own positions with clear depth and distance, while transitions between foreground and background feel smooth and effortless. Listening to I Monsters Heaven, the floating bass line, ambient synth textures, and subtle reverberations spread across the stage with exceptional layering. There's a strong sense of openness, but also stability. Nothing sounds artificially stretched or exaggerated. Instead, the entire presentation feels fluid, spacious, and highly controlled. Compared to the standard H2, the Pro version introduces a greater sense of atmosphere and tonal sophistication. There's slightly more body and richness to the sound, but transparency remains excellent. The presentation feels more holographic, more immersive, and ultimately more effortless. Moving into the low frequencies, Ed O'Brien's Incantations immediately reveals the H2 Pro's stronger sense of authority. The bass reaches deeper, carries more pressure, and has noticeably better physical impact compared to the standard H2, yet it remains highly controlled. What stands out here is not just quantity, but texture and structure. Bass notes feel dense and layered, with excellent decay and separation from the surrounding instruments. Even during complex passages, the low frequencies remain stable and organized instead of becoming loose or overwhelming. At the same time, the H2 Pro never sounds overly aggressive. There's still that characteristic Honey series smoothness and musicality, but now combined with a stronger sense of control and scale. The mid-range continues to be one of the strongest aspects of the Honey lineup, and here the H2 Pro sounds especially mature. With How Long by Lionel Richie, vocals sound full, textured, and deeply organic. You can hear the grain in the voice, the resonance of acoustic strings, and the subtle air surrounding each instrument with remarkable realism. Compared to the standard H2, the Pro version introduces slightly greater density and harmonic richness through the mids, giving vocals a more lifelike and emotionally immersive quality. On Nick Drigg's Riverman, acoustic instruments sound wonderfully layered and natural. The H2 Pro captures not only the notes themselves, but also the atmosphere surrounding the recording, the room resonance, the subtle decay, and the delicate spacing between instruments. For female vocals, India Aries, the heart of the matter, demonstrates the H2 Pro's balance between warmth and refinement beautifully. Her voice sounds smooth, elegant, and slightly sweet, but always controlled. There's enough warmth to create emotional engagement, while the improved transparency and extension prevent the presentation from ever sounding overly thick. As for the upper frequencies, this is another area where the H2 Pro clearly separates itself from the standard H2. The treble feels more open, more refined, and more extended, yet never harsh or artificially bright. Instead of emphasizing sharpness to create the illusion of detail, the H2 Pro focuses on smooth extension and natural air. Listening to Nils Fromm says, "The gradual buildup of electronic textures and upper harmonics feels incredibly spacious and delicate. Micro details emerge naturally from the dark background without sounding forced, and reverberations fade into silence with excellent smoothness." And perhaps most importantly, the H2 Pro remains extremely comfortable over long listening sessions. Its detail retrieval is impressive, but the tuning never becomes fatiguing or analytical in a cold sense. Another major improvement is the amplifier section and overall control. Borrowing heavily from Dethonray's M1 amplifier architecture, the H2 Pro delivers noticeably stronger driving authority than the standard H2. Demanding headphones sound more stable and composed. Large dynamic swings carry greater physicality, and dense arrangements maintain their structure far more convincingly. At the same time, the background remains impressively quiet with sensitive IEMs, which further reinforces the sense of refinement throughout the entire presentation. So when looking at the bigger picture, the H2 Pro feels less focused on delivering immediate excitement and more focused on creating a complete and immersive listening experience. It doesn't rely on exaggerated tuning tricks or excessive coloration to impress at first listen. Instead, it gradually reveals its strengths through balance, control, layering, tonal richness, and long-term musical enjoyment. If the original H1 was intimate and emotional, and the H2 expanded that sound into something larger and more versatile, then the H2 Pro feels like the fully matured expression of the Honey philosophy. More refined, more spacious, more authoritative, and ultimately more luxurious both in sound and in physical presence. And for listeners looking for a portable DAC amp that combines flagship-level musicality, excellent technical performance, and a truly premium listening experience, The Dethonray Honey H2 Pro is easily one of the most impressive portable devices Dethonray has created so far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. Your support is what allows us to continue bringing good original content.